Welcome back for another developer update. My name is Jeff. I'm one of the guys with the Overwatch team. As a lot of you are aware, we're in the process of deploying one of our big content update patches that has a lot of cool new stuff for you guys to play with. So the patch should be live on PC at this point and hopefully is making its way quickly to the PlayStation as well as Xbox. But let's get into what is in the patch. So probably the coolest thing that we're adding to the game at this time is Ana. So Ana is our 22nd hero, and as many of you have been following the materials that we've been releasing, you know that she's Pharah's mom, and she's an older member of the original Overwatch group. So she used to hang out with Jack Morrison, Gabriel Reyes, way back in the day, in the glory days of Overwatch. But what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about what our design goals were with Ana and why we created her and why we introduced her to the game. Because we realized that Overwatch is a game all about the heroes, and even though we already had 21 heroes, something as small as adding one hero to the game that's brand new can be a really big effect to the game overall. So with Ana, we were really targeting a couple of different audiences with her. We realized that in Overwatch, not everybody plays every hero. A lot of people have, 3 or 4 heroes that mainly speak to them. Some of you guys play a lot more than that. Some of you guys actually play all 21 heroes. Some of you even only play one of our heroes. We see that in a lot of our stats. But what we were trying to do with Ana is speak to multiple different audiences. So the first one were players who loved playing support but wanted more options. So we have great options in Mercy, Zenyatta, Lucio, Symmetra, and they all play very differently. But we wanted to add some different options for support players, especially ones who liked doing, twitch aiming. They were good at placing the crosshairs over targets at long range, wanted to contribute some damage, wanted to be able to do things like, if you think about Ana's sleep dart, counter somebody like a Bastion. We really don't have a good support option right now for countering somebody like Bastion. So we wanted to add more options for our existing support players. So that was one audience we were targeting with Ana. The other was an audience of players who really enjoy playing precision classes, and when I think or heroes, classes or heroes. And when I think of precision, I think of heroes like McCree, Hanzo, and Widowmaker. I'm sure you guys know a lot of players who really hone in on those types of heroes. And we were hoping that for some of those players who don't normally play support or in any sort of support role with their team, there would now be an option that would allow them to do a different role for their team, but still doing what they enjoy doing. So that's what we were trying to do with Ana. We also think, we look at our characters and they all speak to different skill ranges. So some characters have a very wide skill range, meaning players with less skill can get a lot out of them and players with more skill can get a lot out of them. I think good examples of heroes like that would maybe be 76, Reaper, Pharah. At every end of the spectrum that we're seeing in terms of skill, players can get sort of the same impact within their skill rating band. And then there's other heroes that have a much more narrow sort of skill band where they're effective, or I should say a high skill ceiling. And these heroes include characters such as Tracer. It's really difficult to maximize the effectiveness of Tracer and get the most out of her. I think Zarya is another example like this. And we feel like Ana will be one of those higher skill rating heroes that you see, meaning that she has a higher skill ceiling. And it'll be a little bit difficult to maximize the ability or get the most out of Ana. Unless you're one of those players who really can hone in on all the nuances of what she does. And for this reason, we rated her star difficulty as 3 stars. So, one of the hardest type heroes to play. So that was sort of our intentions behind her. It was very deliberate. In the future, we will have more heroes and heroes that speak to players of all different skills and also players that are attracted to all different roles. So if Ana isn't your particular flavor, don't worry. She's not the only new hero we're going to add to to the game. But we hope you guys enjoy her. We had a lot of fun making her, and we will continue to tune her over time and make sure that you're having fun with her and that she's fitting into Overwatch in a really positive way. So we did some other things in this patch as well. We did some overall hero balancing. We took a look at characters like Zenyatta, who we felt were not hitting their maximum effectiveness. And you guys were also very clear with us that you felt, Zenyatta wasn't quite all the way there. We're experimenting in a few different ways with Zenyatta. We're trying a larger health pool. We're also going to experiment a little bit with his damage and see if we can get him to be a little bit more survivable, but maybe not as devastating to enemies once he is more survivable. It's a really fine balancing point with Zenyatta. The more he sticks around, the more people tend to melt in front of him. So we need to balance those things hand in hand. We also were hearing a lot of feedback that D.Va wasn't quite cutting it, in particular in her role as a tank. And we had a couple of options of what to do with D.Va. For a while, we explored making her do more damage and getting more kills, but we felt like this really didn't fit in with our vision of D.Va as a tank. So we spent a lot of time experimenting with her defense matrix ability, and we made it more of a toggle on, toggle off ability rather than a fire and forget cooldown ability. We think this adds a lot more strategic depth and gameplay to D.Va, and we think you'll see a lot more uptime on D.Va in general. We also made her ultimate ability far more usable. It used to take 4 seconds for the mech to self-destruct. It now takes 3 seconds. We'll keep looking at that time and tuning and adjusting as necessary. But we want you to actually be able to get some eliminations when you use it. And the biggest change is that it no longer kills D.Va when she self-destructs. So it gives you the opportunity to now shoot people as you pop out of the mech and build ult and not have to run for your life. So that should be a lot better. We're also looking at Mercy. The thing we're focused on the most with Mercy is we felt, and the community was telling us, that Resurrect was happening too often. We love Mercy. We want to keep her a powerful, viable hero in the Overwatch roster. But Resurrection, as it was being used, which was pretty much bringing full teams back after team wipes, was one of the most powerful abilities in the game. And we still love it. We want to make sure it feels powerful and awesome, and Mercy players are, one of the most desired things on your team. We just don't want it to happen so often that it's actually becoming, the predominant thing that players are now focused on is this counter Mercy gameplay. So we need to be careful with that. So we'll be doing some adjustments to Mercy as well. We're still exploring possibilities with McCree. We do feel like McCree was in a bad place the previous patch, that he was too powerful when it came to shredding tanks. But we feel like we hit him a little bit too hard, and now we're trying to find the right sweet spot for McCree where he's viable, you want to play him, but he's also still not wrecking all the tanks that he comes into contact with. So those are some of the hero balance changes that are going on. As always, we're looking at the statistics that are coming out from the hero gameplay. For the hard numbers, we play the games a lot ourselves on the development team, and we have a lot of strong opinions about, where balance is at. And then we triangulate that with your feedback as well. We're constantly taking feedback from you guys about where the heroes are at. And we want to make sure that, in general, things remain as balanced as possible. The final thing that I want to talk about in today's dev update, that's a big change that's coming in the patch, is we're adding a 1 hero limit to competitive play, and to competitive play only. It's very important for me to stress that. So what we were finding is that in competitive play, early on, it was more of a novelty strat to add a bunch of the same hero on one team. It would happen rarely and occasionally, and while it was counterable, it wasn't always either fun to counter or able to be countered, in particular when it would happen on the first point. So like an example here is you're defending on Volskaya, and your defending team has picked your composition, And then suddenly when the gates open, you see the rush of 6 Winstons or 6 Divas come at you. And while that's a counterable composition, you are able to beat that. If you didn't set up to beat that in the first place, you're likely to get overwhelmed and lose the first point right away. So this felt counter to what we were going with hero composition and the hero balance in the game. And in general, what we were hearing from players and what we were feeling ourselves is that it wasn't, while it was counterable, you can make the argument, can I deal with this or not? And the answer was always yes. Like, you could deal with the situation, but the larger question to us was, is this fun? And we were feeling, and what we were also hearing largely from the community, I know that, the opinions differ. Not everybody has the exact same opinion, but we were hearing a big outcry that from a lot of people saying, this isn't really fun for us to play. On the side, we were also watching the pro scene and the tournament scene, and we were hearing a lot of complaints from spectators saying it's not really fun to watch these tournaments when everybody's using the same hero as well. So for competitive play only, in this patch, we're going to add a 1 hero limit to the game, meaning that if you pick Tracer, nobody else on your team can be Tracer as well. And we'll see how this goes. We're going to really look at this closely and make sure that it's fun for the game as well. We know this adds some additional challenges. This means sometimes you won't get to play the hero that you really want to play because somebody else will be playing it. But it's one of those really tough design trade-offs that we feel like we have to make in order for the game as a whole to feel more solid and more balanced. And of course, I hope we've proven to you guys over time that we are listening. And if any of these changes that I mentioned aren't working out, that we're willing as a development team to go back to the drawing board or just make slight tweaks to make sure that the game is always getting better and feeling more enjoyable. There's a ton of other stuff available in this patch. I hope you guys take some time to check out the patch notes. Please play Ana. Let us know what you think. We really appreciate how loyal everybody's been and what a great community you guys have formed so far. The game is still going incredibly strong and the response has been amazing. Thanks for sticking around with us and have fun with this patch.